everyone, welcome back to SportsKhabri with me Adi and Rishi like always. And yeah, it's that time of the year. The Ballon d'Or's coming around fairly soon enough, the Ballon d'Or ceremony. And unlike most years, dude, like it's very weird that at least in the big conversations that I've seen on social media, that I've seen I've seen pundits give their take and things like that. The name of a certain Lionel Messi has not been mentioned. This is probably the first time it's happening in a really long time. So yeah, that being said, not in the shortlist, of course. Neither is Cristiano Ronaldo. The first time since 2003, something like that. There's a stat like that. Um, so it's a weird world. And Rishi, how are you feeling, dude? Like going into this year, we discuss Ballon d'Or nominees and all of that every year, and we discuss who we think should win the Ballon d'Or. Last year, I remember we had a very heated argument for about an hour and a half. I think probably would have lasted a little more than that also. But this year, given the scenario, like what it is, who do you think? Like, okay, what is your basis for like winning the Ballon d'Or award? Like, who do you think deserves to win the Ballon d'Or award?
I mean, from a footballing perspective and from like a narrative perspective, you can drive two different stories, right? One, you can say that
Mm.
like who has outright been like the best player, as in from like an individual perspective, who has done like who has been a very clinical goal scorer, or who has had a brilliant season from a personal standpoint, or from like someone who has helped his team achieve success, like maybe not through mainframe stats like say goals or assist, but like through their performance, like for example, like what Luka Modric did. Like you don't have all those like high numbers, but you were still really crucial for either Real Madrid or where Croatia ended up, like despite not being a clear favorites team. So you can drive two narratives, like for a Ballon d'Or or for like an individual trophy perspective. But for me, it's always been like what kind of impact that player brings to the side, and what kind of difference he makes, b what he does, like if can he be replicated, like if you can just replace him and you can get the same output, and how much he comes like clutch in big moments. I think for me, these three over anything else. I think these three will be like the standout, like benchmarks that I use to judge someone. And yeah, for like all these years, we've been privileged to have like players like Ronaldo, like Messi, the ones who've not just scored goals, not just created goals, but have also come up in big moments. Like that's the thing. Like going into the season, neither of them are like like there for the as per the favorites. Like according to the bookmakers, they're not there to be favorites to pick up the trophy. So, and the others, I don't know who else. Maybe you can give like a fair shout from like a peer perspective. You have your couple of favorites, but from a footballing perspective, you have a couple of favorites. So it's a weird season, man. Like like from when I started watching football, like we've had like the two or three consistent players like who've had an unbelievable season. This for the first time, I can't like handpick maybe one or two. So yeah, I think I have an idea as to who would be for me, but I don't think there's a clear head and shoulders winner.
Interesting, bro. I will. Adi, how do you judge Ballon d'Or winners, or like who do you think should win the Ballon d'Or?
See, I mean, going along the lines of Rishi, it is similar, bro. Like, but at the end of the day, when we look at football, it's a team sport. It's very tough to say, okay, you know, some guy deserves to win because he is the best player in terms of scoring goals, etc. But as he said, I think it's more about the player changing the entire direction of a team. We've seen a lot of times, like for example, you take Messi, Ronaldo. Do these guys, maybe not Ronaldo, at least with Messi, he was literally Barcelona. You saw when Messi left, Barcelona were not able to function as a team without him for a long time. And to be fair, even with Ronaldo, in the first two seasons, Real Madrid struggled without Ronaldo. I do believe these kind of players who are you know who create that entire system in a football team to function and at a high level and win trophies, score a lot of goals, etc. I think these players consistently, who put it out there, I think they are the best. I really don't believe, the guy who scored the highest number of goals. Yeah, I think we should give it to him. I mean, based on that, last season Kane was the highest goal scorer in Europe overall. I mean, he had the best season, but I don't think you saw how Bayern Munich season went throughout the year. I don't even think he was the best player
Yeah.
in Bundesliga in terms of overall, ability. So yeah, it's very difficult. I think over the seasons for me, biasness comes in. Only reason I would say Messi every year till the day he retires is because there is no other player who can play football the way he plays. But again, the way we made Ballon d'Or into a trophy where a lot of other factors come, it's almost like a fan following. It's more like a cult, bro. It's like at the end of the day, Real Madrid or a Barcelona player has to win it, and it's whoever had a better season that year. I just think that's where Ballon d'Or is at the moment. I don't really think if last year same thing if for example Barcelona won it, I think we would have just been saying, okay, someone from Barcelona, maybe Yamal would have been a shout, right? When we look at it, like at the end of the day, you go back previously when Man City won the treble. If the same season it went for a Barca or a Real Madrid player, I think it would have been a Barca or Real Madrid
Yeah.
player. I feel like it's become that thing. Like even though City had a treble winning season, it would have been easy for everyone to unanimously just say, okay, maybe Haaland, maybe in theoretically, but I just feel like this award just generally goes to, your Barca Real Madrid players, at least for the recent past, what I've seen. So, yeah.
It's interesting, bro. It's damn interesting because again, like the
But the thing
way
is with
it has
Ballon
become.
d'Or, I feel like it's a flawed trophy only for the reason that at the end of the day, it's chosen by journalists. It's not chosen by peers.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not chosen
Yeah.
by players who are playing, coaches who are playing. So I just don't value it as much because for example, you go to a country of Argentina, even if Messi had the worst year over someone else, they're still going to vote Argentina. I mean, Messi for the sake of them being a fan, and that's going to be influenced all over the world. So I just
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember like there were a few African reporters who
bro,
voted for Aubameyang
bro,
like when
yeah, I
he didn't even
remember
have a great season. I'm like,
exactly.
what? Like, why? Like, what is the point?
Bro, that's the
No,
thing.
bro.
It's
That
very
yeah.
flawed in that sense. That's one thing. Like for me, I've had a huge issue with Ballon d'Or. It's because it's very biased to based on which team you support than who was actually the best player that year.
Fair enough, but I think like typically, if you really have to sort of sum it up, I think it's come to a point where it's awarded based on who wins how many trophies, kind of, and obviously performs well for that season. I think it's a mixture of all of this, and of course there is
And
biasness
you have
because
to
it
have
is
a little bit of
journalists.
narrative. Yeah, exactly. You have to have a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
narrative as
Bro,
well.
Little bit of
bro,
narrative
I'm
also would help.
sorry, but it's
Yeah.
just the narrative. Like are you going to sit and tell me like Vinicius was the best player in the world? And we all know
No, I don't think so. Which is why I don't think he should win the Ballon d'Or.
that's fair, but we all know, like, however sad it is, we all know Vinicius is gonna win it. Like, you don't have to even. It's not a surprise. It's not a guess. Why is Vinicius winning? Is just because he plays for Real Madrid, bro. It's as simple as that. I don't think
Plays for
it's
Real Madrid, the whole their PR team, their whole media team has driven that story that they've pushed and pushed and pushed his
Mm,
campaign, his storylines, his fight for racism and all that. Like
yeah, yeah.
they've like
But
made him. It's almost like politics at this point. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just quickly give you numbers, anyways, with what he's done on the pitch. Of course, they won the La Liga and they won the Champions League last year. 39 games, 24 goals, 11 assists, not bad numbers. But of course, he didn't go too far with Brazil in Copa America. So that's there, obviously. So I think, like, personally, if you're going to do it based on that metric, which is you do well internationally, you do well for your club side, I think it has to go to either Rodri or Danny Carvalho, simply because both of them were pivotal for their respective league seasons. Rodri played what, dude, like in excess of 50 games last
Rodri didn't
season.
play the finals in Euros, by the way. Just
Yeah, I mean, because he was injured, but like fair enough. But like he was still very important to Spain's campaign. Again, played every game until started every game until then. Same thing for City. He played 50 games like throughout the club season.
bro.
Scored goals, bro. Like from a number six position, scored 9 goals. That's fair enough again. And I think the same thing with Danny Carvalho, bro. Like he was injured for a bit. Again, even from right back for Real Madrid, 6 goals, 5 assists, and then again scored Spain's first goal at the Euros. Yeah, did that as well. And yeah, bro, it's an important player. I think the game
No, he didn't.
Carval was
Carval didn't
suspended.
score in the finals.
They
It
got
was Nico
they
Williams who
got
scored.
stunned on that right side.
Sorry.
I think he was suspended for the semis, no? Carval, like in the Euros.
Bro,
And they
Yeah,
started Jesus
it was
Navas.
Jesus Navas played
Yeah,
against
and he
Mbappe.
got absolutely smoked.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's just in terms of
if you're
importance.
coming from Carval to a 40-year-old Jesus Navas who has arthritis, I don't think we can.
Oh, this guy's
Um,
33, guys, not that young also.
33 is
Carval.
way younger than a 40-year-old person who has arthritis.
No,
Please, like
but
it's literally that.
I'm
And
just
like,
saying, all I'm saying is I'm just telling you what his importance was to that
I
Spain team
mean,
and to
it is very
Real Madrid.
important relative to your backup, right? For example, if they
Oh,
had a world class
100%,
right back, I
100%.
don't think we would have had a issue, right? That's the
Correct,
point.
but at the moment they don't. They don't. So like
So that's not
it
a
is what it is.
that's not a value of Carval being valuable because of the worst right
Ah,
back.
the context, it is context.
I
That
think
is context. You can't help it.
I think
That's the
that can
situation.
be played to both the points. Like we can say, see, I also firmly believe that like when Messi plays, the things he brings to the table, nobody else does. But then you can use the same argument. You can say that someone with the left foot, if he can shoot from long distance, if he has the vision, you can just replicate him. So if you have a good backup to Messi, then you wouldn't probably feel his importance. But that's the thing. Like okay, just because somebody else does a decent job instead of this player, I don't think you should downplay like the value of that player. Like you
No, I
see,
think and on top of that, again, one trophies. Like both of them have won the Euros
Okay,
and
bro,
their
like the thing
respective
is,
leagues.
again,
Champions
when
League.
the issue with me and with like,
Scored in the Champions League final also. Carvalho scored the first goal in the Champions League final.
fair,
Important
and
goal
mm,
I'm
again.
not,
Yeah. So
see, that's my point. I'm not going to sit and just say, that's the thing, like, if you want to talk about goals, we've seen a lot of players in Champions League finals that have scored goals. Like, it doesn't mean they
he's
are
a
the
right
best
back.
player. Huh?
He's a right back.
It was a corner, Rahul. It was not an open play where he played.
I agreed.
Like,
I agree, but it's not
what?
typical for a right back to pop up in a Champions League final. He's won the trophies, both trophies. He's played consistently for both teams,
Yeah, fair.
and he's got goals and
So are you
assists.
telling he was the best player in both the teams? Like, can you tell me that for a Real Madrid team, Carval was the best player and he's the reason they went to the finals and they won the
So that's
trophy?
exactly what that's
No,
exactly where I'm
you
getting at.
go.
What I'm getting at is simply the fact that this is how the Ballon d'Or is sort of has become. Like you need to win international trophies. I can't sit and say he was the best player for Real Madrid. He
Yeah,
was a
so
very important player for both Real Madrid and Spain. That I can say.
yes, exactly.
So
But Ballon d'Or is
yeah.
not the most important player for a team. Ballon d'Or is something where we come and sit and say, is he the best player in the world? Based on that, we're going to give you. It's literally the best player in the world. You can talk about so many players who have been important for teams. Like you look at the Real Madrid team again. Courtois was so important, even though he was injured in the UCL finals. He was the best player in that finals, in my opinion,
mm.
because he saved 4 or 5 massive saves. Without them, without Courtois, I don't think they would have even survived. They would have been 2-0
They
down
had two.
by the
He
first half.
saved two 1v1s with against Ademi itself.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
again,
but
going back to that
then
game,
who?
I
Then who?
Courtois.
If not this,
no, that's my
if
point. Like,
not
are you going to sit
Rodri or
and tell
Carvalho,
me
who?
Carval scoring a goal means he is the best player in the world? He came in the
It's
again,
not about
bro. But
being the
again, you
best
look at
player.
him play. You look at him play. Like I watched Carval play in the Euros. I honestly, I've been a huge fan of Carval over the years. I feel like he's a very he has that so-called dark arts. He knows how to play football as a right back. He knows how to
Yeah.
defend. But if you're going to sit and tell me he's a once in a lifetime player, he's been the best player in the world in football right now to win a Ballon d'Or, bro, that is impossible.
No, I'm not saying he's a
It's so
once in
tough
a
for a
lifetime
defender to
player.
win a Ballon d'Or. If it's a defender who's going to win a Ballon d'Or, I think you need to be special, bro. You need to be like literally like Maldini vibes, like once in a lifetime defender where like no one ever can match the way you defend, the way you play, the way you attack the ball. I feel like Carval is just a very ordinary player who does it consistently. Like that's my opinion about him. I can't sit and tell he's extraordinary player. He's
No, okay,
one of
but then okay, who do you give the Ballon d'Or to?
that's the thing for me right now. Overall, I can't tell anyone deserves it. Right off like he is the best player, etc. That's the problem with me in football right now. Take on Messi. There are a lot of players. All the players are in a very similar level. Like if you're going to sit and tell me right now, like okay, Vinicius had a better season than, for example, Lamine Yamal. Okay, last season. But for me, I think the way I watch football, the way I see them play, I still think both of them are equally important for the team. Now, Vinicius won the UCL, he scored in the UCL, etc. Do I really believe? if Vinicius was not there in the Real Madrid team, they would be in that finals. I don't think so, and that I think is more important for Real Madrid. For example, without Carval, I think they could have done a good job because they did that. You go to the Man City game, there was no Carval. You know, who was the right back? Vasquez, right?
It was Vasquez, but
He
that's what
came
I'm
and
saying. He was
he
not for a
literally
consistent
played
period.
very well that game. I remember watching the game. He was perfectly good. So that's my point. Like, if Vinicius is not playing, I think that's a big issue for like Real Madrid. I think then, for example, that finals, if they didn't have Vinicius over Carval, I think we all know it would have been tougher for them to win compared the other way around. Same thing with Spain, bro. That again, when we come and talk about Rodri, see, bro, like I think he's a great player, but
I think Rodri's a special player, by the way. I don't
I,
think he's an
see, that's the
ordinary
thing.
number six.
What do you think he does is very special that no other player can do right now?
I
Like,
think the way he keeps the ball tidy and keeps it moving and
but that is
almost
very
never
basic,
seems
and
to
I've
lose
seen a
it.
lot of players do that very well.
No, I don't. I have not seen a lot of players do that.
Being tidy with the ball,
Not being tidy,
No,
but just the way he
it's
does it.
it's
He's
his
just
not just
it's just
tidy.
his gait,
his
Rahul.
utilization of physicality, the way he
Yeah, and
keeps the
he's
ball, the
physical.
way
He's
he
strong.
breaks up
Bro,
attacks, like the
I'll tell
sense of
you.
security
Are
that
you
you
telling
get
me
when
Rodri is a
Rodri
physical
plays in
player?
front of you.
Are you telling me Rodri is a physical player right now?
Rodri is a
He's a
Yeah,
guy
he
physical
who
can.
player.
When he needs to be, he
I'll tell you
can.
right now, he's not one of the he doesn't win a lot of duels in terms of success percentage to when he plays against. I've seen him getting dribbled past so many players, even in the Germany game, bro. Like he got skinned by Musiala 3-4 times. Like he literally fell. I've seen that him doing multiple times. He's not a strong player. I
There
can
there
show
can
you.
be occasions. So
It's not
again, there can be
occasion. It's
many
very
games where
consistent.
even
I've seen it very
in the
consistently.
Messi's World Cup run, you can see many shots where he has gone off target. So what are you gonna say? Like, okay, his
Rishi,
shots went
if you're
off
a
target, so
physical
he's not
player, you're
great.
not losing physical duels. My point is, I've seen him getting pushed off by shorter people than him. He's not physically strong. I can send you clips of him losing battles. But my point is, his gait is very unique. The way he moves the ball, the way he turns, he's a very tall guy, but the way he can turn from the defense from his goalkeeper, he turns. That is special because he has a very elegant gait. But don't get confused with the elegant gait versus the physicality of him.
No, I've
He's
seen
a
some.
very
I've seen
tall
Rodri be
guy.
physical.
He's a
Like
very
personally,
tall
again,
guy. But let's be real. He's not
I've
even
seen
the
some. I've seen him be strong. Like when he has to be.
he. You can be strong,
Like
but my point is, you
yeah,
go back to his dual success. It's not even one of the top dual successes for a midfielder in Europe right now.
this I
Yeah,
don't
Even
want
it's
to
again,
compare
it's
Marino
with him.
not
Like I'm
just
not going to
has
comment.
won
it's
more duels
But
in Europe than for example Rodri itself. Like I'm not going to sit and say he's the most physical player. If you're talking about physically, he's very unique and he's a unicorn. That is wrong, bro. I don't think he's the most physical player I've ever seen
Yeah, he's
at the
not.
stadium.
Nobody said he is the
yeah,
most physical. You
But
can
you guys said
find
he's
maybe
very
10. Yeah,
special.
he is
Physicality is very
quite.
special.
Yeah. No,
It
it's
is not
not
a
just his physicality, it's a lot of
no,
things.
no, no. I think
The
the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Rodri is his passing abilities, is the way he keeps the ball. That's what we said. Like that's
you
the
said
first
it's
thing that
very
comes to
and
your
more
tidy.
mind.
than
Again, it's
and
very
more than
tidy,
Yeah,
that,
you
he's
said.
very tidy. He is very
Bro,
tidy.
I've seen
and more
for
than that, the
me,
sense of security that defense has, like at least for City, like the sense of security when you can say, okay, maybe they clearly don't have another outright CDM, but regardless, the way City play with him, the way City plays without him, maybe because Kovacic, they are misprofiling him and playing him at the CDM. At the end of the day, the way they play is quite different. The way they play, the way they operate, they have to have
that is
more than, yeah. So
but
the
that's normal
and
for
even for
anyone, bro. Like for example, I can say the way Barca play with Messi or without Messi is different. The way, for example, Arsenal play with Odegaard without Odegaard is different. So I don't think we can put that
and
aspect as
it's not just different. So where
Okay,
it's not just different. Like City have looked a lot more vulnerable, and
that
you
is
see
normal.
their success
Rishi,
rate.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that is. It's
Hmm.
like you have one, as you guys said, Rodri is a physical presence, right? The problem is you don't have an enough backup. Like as you said, if the player is good, but you don't have the right backup, then it's always going to look like it's a hole. Like tomorrow, you
no,
see,
I think
If
he's
Haaland gets injured
exponentially
tomorrow,
better.
there is no right up center forward for them right now to play center forward, right?
But
And that's obviously going to deplete.
City have won leagues without having an outright striker. They've had Bernardo, they've had Foden playing false nine. They've
Bro,
never needed
Rishi, are you telling
a
me
like
this City team, which is highly
hmm.
focused on Haaland and De Bruyne's
No,
partnership
no,
football? Like
of
previously, we were
course they
talking
do.
about they had world class wingers. They don't have the same wingers. So they had Sane, they
True,
had
they
Sterling, they had Maris that time. Like they had very good wingers who could score goals a lot. Take the same
mhm.
Haaland out now. They don't have the second striker for them to score. Same thing with City. Like if Rodri goes, they don't have a CDM, so obviously they're going to play different. They're going to look different. And I'll tell you one more thing, bro. Like the thing with Rodri, you see any of his City games, any of the Spain games, he's never been a lone pivot. Like you go to City games, every City game he either has Akanji with him. You go to the treble season winning. That was where Stones used to play centre mid.
John Stones used to come in, yeah.
Exactly. He's never played as a pivot, single pivot. He's never held the midfield by himself. You come to Spain, it was literally Fab, bro. In my opinion, for Spain, that this season, it was Fabian Ruiz who carried that entire midfield. I kept watching both of them play. Fabian Ruiz was way, from what I watched, was way more special in the Euros tournament. He did more for the team. Come to the finals, bro. Spain had no Rodri the entire finals, like virtually, and they looked very comfortable without Rodri. In fact, the second half they played better without Rodri than they had to play the first half. Zubimendi came in; they didn't look like they lost any physical presence. Zubimendi played a pretty good game. They looked better. They looked more dangerous. They scored 2 goals. So I can't say,
Mm.
bro. Same way, like for example, you take out Real Madrid without like maybe Bellingham or like Vinny, you take out Barcelona without Messi or like Argentina without Messi, I don't think they'll be able to play the same game, score the same goals, win the same trophies. I just don't think so.
Okay, okay. Okay, Rishi, then Adi, again, like quickly before we wrap up, just chuck in a couple of other names like Rodri, Danny Carval, we've spoken Vinicius Junior. Anyone else who you think could be like in the conversation?
I mean, to be fair, I can't, off the top of my mind, I can't think of many other names. Like, up to me, I'd
Yep.
probably give it to, yeah, Rodri, and second, Carvajal, and third, I don't even think Vinny would have probably cracked into the top three, because I felt like, yeah, he has been great at times for Real Madrid. That too in the one thing of running behind defenses or maybe 1v1 at times, but I don't think other
No.
than that
Bro,
he's been
Vinicius
that
is
great.
way more special of a player than Rodri, please. You don't find
No
players like
way.
Vinicius often compared to a guy like Rodri who just keeps the ball simple, who can win a few duels. Bro,
Ah, he scores goals
are
also.
you
There,
telling
you're
the
actually
See,
very, you're
Vinicius
the
Junior?
really downplaying
speciality of a
Rodri's
player
ability.
might be different over the years. He might be different, but for me, who's had more impact for their team, I feel if Vinicius, instead of Vinicius, you put Rodrigo there, I don't think
Yeah, even
Real
I
Madrid are
same
going to lose
same.
out that
I
much.
think the same. I
Are
honestly
you
feel the same,
literally
right?
telling me if Rod
I think the same too.
so okay,
I think
Rodri
if
plays
you have
left?
another winger like on that side, it's going to be fine.
How?
Yeah, I like.
So you're saying any winger
That's
can
what
cup
that's my opinion.
but on
Now it's
what
not
basis?
happened.
On what basis?
It hasn't happened. So
It has
what?
happened very much, bro.
When Vinicius was injured, they were fine. It's not like they were losing games. They were
When?
winning games
Oh, like
last season.
same way
Yeah.
City are winning games
So
right
that's
now
exactly
without
what I'm saying. So
Rodri.
it's not like it's
Same way
not like you
City are
removed
winning games
Vinicius
without
and
Rodri. Same
they
way
got
Spain won without
massively
Rodri. Like,
impacted.
sorry?
It's not like they got massively impacted. They still won games. I think Rodri hasn't lost a game, right, in a City shirt,
In a,
like something like
Yeah,
yeah.
when
I
you
think the
play
last
for
one they lost was the
So
FA
that's
Cup
what I'm
final.
saying. But City have lost games last season.
yeah, that
Vinicius, when you removed Vinicius, nothing happened. Like they
no,
still
but
won games.
First of all, I remember Rodri losing a lot of games. He lost against Arsenal,
No,
lost against Real Madrid.
no. Rodri didn't. Last season, they hadn't lost a single game. Like
I
Rodri had
think, yeah,
never
they,
lost
they
a single
haven't
game.
lost in like the last 49 or 50
Bro, I
games when
remember
Rodri has
Rodri
been
playing the
playing.
Rodri is
Community
there.
Shield, which he clearly lost. So I don't know what is this.
League games. I'm
Bro,
talking about.
now you make it league games, you make it this game.
No,
Like,
I was talking about the league. They lost the Champions
Okay,
League badly. They lost
Rahul,
the
you want it as
semi-final. I
simple as
know they've
this.
lost a
Okay,
game with
I'll keep
Rodri.
it as simple as this. When was the last time when City met and Real Madrid met? Who won the game?
What is the point?
The point is
Uh,
Rodri lost against Real Madrid where Vinicius played for Real Madrid. What's
Adi,
your point?
it doesn't depend on one player. Winning or losing will not depend on that player.
So that means that very well. That means it doesn't matter if Rodri plays or not. It doesn't depend only on Rodri for them to win, also, right?
It doesn't depend only on Rodri, but
Exactly.
he
So
makes
that's
a massive
bro. You have to
difference.
put
That's what
context to
I'm saying.
everything, bro. He's playing for a City team. He's
Okay,
playing for a
so
Spain
you,
team.
you think Vinicius should win the Ballon d'Or? Then?
Dude, to be fair, I would give it to Vinicius over Rodri. My point is, at the like we have these limited options. Like at the end of the day, it's only a bunch of
True.
players. Like it's going to come down to Vinicius because
I'd
of
much rather give it to someone like Florian Wirtz over Vinicius. I feel
Bro,
Florian Wirtz has had a much better season than Vinicius Junior. Like, you give the kind of hype, the kind of like the kind of like media attention for someone like Florian Wirtz, he's gonna probably stand up, because like he has been a brilliant player for Leverkusen in finding in those tight pockets I feel I've not watched a lot of Leverkusen games, a lot of Real Madrid games. From the limited games that I've seen, like the kind of direct impact that Florian Wirtz has had in the last season, where he finds those pockets, like it's almost like what Musiala does, but he can do it out wide as well. And when I just watch him play, the tighter touches, the tidiness, and the direct goal threat that he is, I felt just from a season's perspective. We're not talking again the potential, the speciality of the player, but from an isolated season, I feel someone like Florian Wirtz has had a better individual and impacting the season as an overall for their team than someone like Vinicius.
Bro,
So
come on, bro. Vinicius won the UCL
Okay,
last year, won the
okay. Let's
La
let's
Liga
let's let's
last year.
wrap it up.
And
But
same Vinicius who played against Real Madrid, by the way. It was not like Rodri was sitting on the bench or he was missed that game. Both of them played the same game, bro. And it's not,
I am
bro.
Adi. That can happen one season, and the next season you can
Yeah,
lose.
we're
Like
talking
it
about
doesn't.
last season, Rahul. That's my point.
Yeah, Adi. But like the point, bro. Like that. What Brazil? He didn't do anything. He lost. No, he was playing in that Brazil team. They lost.
no,
Rodri was
also
playing in the Spain team. They
Bro,
he
won.
has been horrible for
Like
Brazil. By the
what?
way, it's not like he's been
Like,
good and
that
Brazil have been losing.
doesn't that
He has
argument doesn't
been
stand. But
terrible
like
for Brazil.
bro,
Like
but you realize everyone in Brazil have been bad. Like that's the sad part. Like you can't sit and say that Brazil itself is in such a bad state right now. They've just been in a bad state.
yes,
They
so
have
that's
bad
my
players
point,
right
right?
now.
Like it's also like unfortunately we do consider what they've done internationally,
Bro,
and
but
Rodri
Rahul, we're
has
talking
like
about
won the Euros.
at the end of the day, we're talking about high level football. Like he's playing high level
He's
football
a
in
high level
UCL.
footballer.
Yeah, and he's done it.
Rodri, it's not like they didn't do anything, right? Like
What?
they won the they won the Premier League. It's not like he didn't win anything
Bro, you're saying one
domestically.
Premier League versus a UCL, La Liga, and mind you, again, Real Madrid faced City, Real Madrid beat City.
And
Your whole
Rodri won the
argument
Euros.
was, Rodri never lost the game, Vinicius lost the game, so basically,
League game, bro. League game. Imagine they haven't lost a league game in
bro,
so long
dude,
with
are
him
you telling
when
me
he's there in the
scoring in
team.
the UCL finals is not taken into consideration?
You literally told me Danny Carvajal scored from a corner. It doesn't matter.
No, I didn't
I
say
was
it
literally
doesn't
going to say
matter.
this.
I never
I
said
was
it
going to
doesn't
say the
matter.
same
My
thing.
point
You
is,
literally said
Wait,
that when I
but
said
Danny
Danny
Carvajal has
Carvajal
also
scored.
won the UCL, won the Premier League. Sorry, won the La
Same
Liga,
thing.
I
and
Yeah.
won the
Rishi,
Euros.
yeah. So
So,
do you
but
think
now suddenly,
my point was never about just that. My point was is did if Danny Carvajal didn't play the UCL, are you saying they would have lost that UCL? That's my whole
you
point.
can never
Yeah, you won't
definitely
be, you
say.
don't know.
Exactly, bro. I still feel like when we watched history says you put Vasquez, they can still do a good job. But I still think
You
without
put
Vinicius,
Rodrigo there again. The same way I can say you put Rodrigo there, they'll do a
Yeah,
decent
they
job
still
because they've
will
done
do.
in the
Yeah,
past.
bro, are you
It's
bro?
the
But the same way you put
yeah.
Kovacic in City team, you put Zubimendi in Spain team, they won the trophy. Like, what's the
No,
difference?
that's what we're saying.
you look at
Kovacic in City team they've lost like
No,
previously.
this
That's the
season,
City
point.
have
this season, coaches has
Not
no
played.
this
over,
year,
like
but
He
over the
scored
last
not
at least over the last 2 or 3 seasons, you take out you take
whenever
City's
you've
win
taken out
percentage.
Rodri.
You take out
bro,
City's
but
win
that's
percentage with and
so.
without Rodri. Yeah, no, of
That's
course
such a bad way to
there are
judge a best player in the world, bro.
definitely,
Like
but
that's not.
you
That's
can't
so
just
flawed.
not consider that. Of course, you can say the
I
whole
mean,
way they play changes, but then again, if you have Rodri,
Okay,
you're
okay.
playing a certain way.
you're playing a certain way,
Let's quickly
Rishi,
wrap it up.
fair enough.
Let's,
But again, the certain way is not the best football in the world, and that's as simple as that. Like when you look at City last year, they were not the best team in the Premier League, in my opinion. Look at them in the UCL, they were not the best.
Adi,
Clearly
they
not the best.
won. It doesn't matter
Dude, you can say they
at the end of
won,
the
but
day.
we all know that doesn't mean they're the best player in the world. They're the best team in the world. Like that's my whole point. Like
So then, how are you judging? How are you saying Real Madrid was the best team in La Liga?
bro, it was a difference, bro. You see Real Madrid in La Liga, it was a clear difference. When you are you telling me last year in the Premier
That's
League,
exactly what I'm saying. How
Rahul, are you telling me? Okay, wait, are you telling me last year in the Premier League, City were the best team in the league?
they won the league?
Yeah,
Yeah,
At
I
no,
the
no,
think
end
no.
they
of
are
the
the best
day,
team in the league.
Were
at
they
the
the
end
best
of,
team
end
in
of
the
the
league?
day, the
Yeah,
Huh?
you
for me,
can't
yeah. Like
not
I
be the
if you
best
win the
team in the
apart
league
competition,
from
you
and
winning,
say
win.
bro, I
there's
agree.
a
Bro,
reason you
I feel
play the
like the reason
competition.
they lost was more than just them winning, bro. You want to come back? There are more nuanced, complex
Okay, okay,
situations that
okay,
happen in
fine.
football.
Let's
So
not go into all this. Okay, okay.
like what?
Let's quickly throw the names, bro. The names we've at least like we've discussed. Rodri, Danny Carvajal, you've got Vinicius Júnior, you've got what Rishi Chakni and Florian Wirtz also. So yeah, these are the sort of names that we've got. But again, everyone, thanks for watching. Like and share the videos. Let us know who you think should win this year's Ballon d'Or. Again, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.